Over the last 12 hours, the crypto market has performed pretty dang on good after a good jobs report came out and Bitcoin's price pushing back up towards $95,000. And so in today's video, I want to give you a quick update, letting you know what's going on in the market, what I'm doing right now, and I do want to issue a little bit of a warning as well. And so with that said, we have a good bit to cover, so let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. Now, first and foremost, kind of looking at the general market, we can see that it's been a pretty solid 24 hours. We got things like Solana, BNB, XRP, and many more slightly in the green, doing okay. But if you do go outside of the top 10, we are actually starting to see some pretty solid movement. We got Phantom and AI16s, we got BSZ and SWE and many more actually performing pretty dang on well. SWE actually putting in some pretty solid gains, getting a decent recovery off of that downtrend that it had been in, especially over the last week. And so you do love to see that little double bottom forming there, but we'll talk about that on Twitter later. But overall, yeah, we've seen a pretty solid performance from the altcoin market today. And again, I do believe that it is kind of coming off of the back of the jobs report that we got earlier. What you can see here is that the U.S. job growth ends the year strong. We got this report saying that employers stuck the landing in 2024, finishing the year with a bounce of hiring after a quarter filled with disruption. The economy added about 250,000 jobs in December, seasonally adjusted, the Labor Department reported on Friday. It was a better than expected number amid a labor market that has been slowly cooling for 2 years. The unemployment rate edged down to 4.1%. Now, the reason why this is good news is that the recent market sell-off was likely due to concern over fewer rate cuts in 2025. We were starting to notice, obviously, inflation picking up and the economy kind of in a bit of a weird spot. And obviously that was putting a lot of negative sentiment in the market. Like, there may be fewer rate cuts and this isn't good. And obviously that could be somewhat detrimental to risk on assets like crypto. But when you do start to see things like this, meaning that the economy is doing better, that is usually a pretty damn good sign. That is something that in general you like to see. And you do want to see a strong economy and people having jobs, especially if you're an altcoin investor. You got to think about it, right? Altcoins move off of retail. That's really what happens, especially outside of your top 10. Move off of retail. And you need people with jobs and having money if you do want to see altcoins perform well. And so, of course, with that in mind, obviously, this isn't the biggest, grandest news ever, but it is pretty good news. Now, in addition to this, I do believe a portion of why we are seeing the market kind of performing somewhat well today is also due to what we were seeing on liquidations yesterday. I actually made a tweet. Let me pull this up. I made a tweet yesterday, and feel free to go follow me on Twitter at Tyler Crypto Talk. I try to post like 6 or 7 times a day, so feel free to, if you want some extra content, go check that out. But I said the tiny amount of 100x liquidations that remain on the 7-day Bitcoin chart is actually insane at this point. Basically, all of the traders that got overly greedy over the last few days have been absolutely wiped out. As this has happened, short traders are getting more and more confident, injecting more and more leverage and margin into their positions. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see this market absolutely rocket up and squeeze all these short trades once it does find a bottom. It will be fast, it will be ruthless. The question is just when that bottom will form. If you are a short trader without smart stop losses set right now, there's a good chance that you end up lizard food. Please be careful. And what I was talking about was the fact that all of these liquidations had dried up to the downside, leaving nothing but liquidation to the upside, of billions of dollars in liquidations to the upside. And so whenever the market was falling, there really wasn't much liquidity left. There wasn't much of a reason to go down to some of these lower levels, but there were a bunch of liquidations above us. And so I was telling you, when the time comes, I think this market is going to start gaining some momentum to start liquidating those short traders towards the top side. And well, what do you know? I mean, we start to see that in progress. Now, obviously, when you combine these things together, that does lead for a pretty good day. You got good news and you got liquidations, and that is enough for the lizard people to start doing their thing. But I do want to kind of say that although this is good, and I am happy because, if we go look, you guys remember I made a video, I think not yesterday, but maybe, it had to be yesterday, right? I told you guys I was dollar cost averaging. As the market was falling, I was dollar cost averaging. I was buying Ethereum and Solana and XLM and ADA and many more. And what you can see, you know what? I'll just be honest with you guys. This is from the crypto school. You can see my purchases. Bitcoin at 92.8, ETH at 3,200, Solana at 186, and you can see where all these things are at. Bitcoin's at 94, it's up. ETH is, I believe, a little bit up here. Let's see, 3,200. Yeah, that's up like $50, which is peanuts. We have Solana barely up there. So I am pretty happy because a lot of my purchases and dollar cost averages that I made here, and then that I made, here we go. So I did another tiny DCA into all of those right there. So I lowered all those average costs a little bit. All of those purchases are happy, they're up. So I definitely am happy about that. But at the end of the day, I'm not getting too far ahead of myself right now because I know better. And this is kind of where I want to go into the warning. So to summarize, the market is looking good and we are seeing good things today, but I just want to put a warning out there for you, okay? While we are still seeing Bitcoin's price ranging in this red zone, we're not out of the woods. You know, when I woke up this morning, I saw so much of my Twitter, dude. Bitcoin's at 95K. It's all over 100K by the end of the week. Like, people just flipped immediately. It's just like they were waiting. They were just waiting to flip. They just wanted to be bullish so bad. And my feed were just flooded with people. Solana to 250, Bitcoin to 110, all-time highs inbound. The dip is over. And I'm just kind of like, have we not learned our lesson yet? Like, have we not learned our lesson about getting too far ahead of ourselves? And so as a result of that, I was like, okay, well, people are getting greedy. People are getting a little excited. Let me go see how that's reflecting across some of our analytics. And if we go to liquidations, you can see it's starting to build already. Look at the one-day liquidations. Do you see how it's not a ton? Don't get me wrong. This isn't a lot of people going long on leverage, but it's a good enough amount that worries me at least. Or concerns me at least. Because what you can see here is, you remember yesterday when I made that tweet, there was like no liquidations to the downside, meaning that if Bitcoin's price went down, it would liquidate people. There were none. Now there are some. Meaning that as a result of this tiny pump that we saw, here we go again. Look at the 100x leverage trades. People are starting to open up these leverage trades again. They're starting to go long. They're starting to get greedy. And every time we see this, while we're in this red box right here, I get a little bit concerned. Because when you get too far ahead of yourself, the lizards turn you into lizard food. It's just what happens. When we're going up and up and up, and then people get all excited, Granny gets kicked down the stairs. It's just what happens. And so because of that, although there is a chance, there is a chance that we use the support, right? And we do say, you know, hypothetically, what we could say is that the crypto market, especially Bitcoin, just bounced off of that golden zone down here and is going to use that golden zone to continue upwards. That is very possible. I'm not saying this isn't going to happen. We just hit a macro support zone and we're bouncing off of, you know, some of our major oversold levels. So it could do that. But what I need you to understand is that even if it does do that, you shouldn't get too far ahead of yourselves while we're in this red box. This is an HMZ. I've been saying it since we were right here, a high manipulation zone. This is a zone where we're going to go up and we're going to go down and up and down and up and down over and over and over again. And every time you get too far ahead of yourselves to the upside or to the downside, you're going to end up lizard food. And so because of that, I just don't want you, my viewers, to get too far ahead of yourselves. If every other retail investor wants to go long on 100x leverage, let them. I'm not. Because while we're in this red box, we are consistently at the risk of seeing this market pull to the downside. We got a fake out to the upside. Who's to say we don't get a fake out to the downside? Who's to say this isn't going to be the last push before we draw in as many more bottom side liquidations as humanly possible, and the next thing you know, the market absolutely sends it to 85K, recovers, and then starts to take off? It's very possible. Everything that could happen will happen. And so because of that, yes, this is great. Don't get me wrong, but please just don't get too ahead of yourself, because you never know. Look at this. Somebody said it earlier. What tweet was I looking at? It had to be this one. This Crypto Sid. Shout out to Crypto Sid. He said, perfect example of how Bitcoin steps up, takes the steps up, and then takes the elevator down, right? We literally saw it earlier. Earlier, whenever I first woke up this morning, as the market was going upwards, there was way more liquidations than this. Way more liquidations than this. But already, some of those people who were going long on leverage with liquidations at 93.5K immediately got liquidated. And so all I'm telling you is, yes, this is good. And yes, the jobs report is good. And yes, what we're seeing is good. Don't get me wrong. Don't get too far ahead of yourself, because you just cannot. While we're in the red box, we are at risk constantly. Simple as that. And so with that in mind, I just wanted to put that out there for you. Now, you may ask, well, Tyler, when is it time to start, going in, right? When is it time to start actually making these moves and start opening up on leverage trades and do all these things? And I will tell you, it's when we're out of the red box. It's when we finally break the red box. This is a trend stopper. This is going to stop any trend. It's going to stop a downtrend. It's going to stop an uptrend. There will not be a trend while we are in here. There cannot be. We are in a range. And so until we break out of this range, we cannot do any. You just cannot know where this market's going to go. You look at Total 2. Total 2 just had a fake out of a descending channel. When does that ever happen? It breaks out the descending channel, comes back down, no back test at all, hits the 50% threshold, and now putting in this descending structure on the 50, right? You're seeing things that are hard to predict in this market because Bitcoin is range bound. And while we're range bound, it's not the time to do anything stupid. And stupid means big, and big means dumb. Don't do it. Just give it time. Let it play out and be patient, because there is a lot of value in being patient in this market. One thing I have been looking at recently was this over on Into the Cryptoverse. I've really been liking it recently. Shout out Benjamin Cohen. I don't know the guy, but I do like it. It's a great platform. But one thing I have been watching a lot recently was when we do see the trend change here on the super trend chart for Bitcoin. What this tells you is what the general macro trend is for Bitcoin. And it gives you a very, very, very good understanding of how the actual macro trend is shaping out right now. And we're still not in an uptrend. We're still range bound. We're still below that sell zone. We're still in this red band. And so because of that, until this breaks, especially, I'm not doing anything. And so with that in mind, that's kind of where we are right now. Now, I will tell you, there will come a time where I do start trading and I do start moving again. And so if you do want to start doing some trading yourself or get prepared, you can go get a 10% bonus on all your first time deposits between $500 and $100,000 over on BTCC. It's a very, very, very good deal. You deposit $3,000, they give you $300 back to start trading, and you keep whatever profit you make. Fantastic deal. Feel free to go check that out. They've been around for 13 years. And so feel free to go check that out. But again, right now, I'm not trading. I'm simply just not trading. I don't want to. I don't like what I'm seeing. I think people are getting a little bit too greedy, and I just want to see this market play out a little bit before I'm convinced that we are out of the woods with this entire thing. Now, as I did show you earlier, I do post a lot of the things that I'm doing, guys. A lot of my buys, a lot of my sells, just my general thoughts, extra content. So like whenever you guys see posts from me on Twitter, I give extra content to the school about what I'm doing and how I'm buying and how I'm interacting with it. So if you guys do want access to this, I will let you know. Our mission at the school is extremely, extremely simple. What we do is we take crypto investors like yourselves, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, and we give you courses, coaching, classes, live streams, workshops, signals, research, Q&A, and much more to help you develop your strategies, because it's a good strategy that turns into gains. And the best part about it is that if you don't like it, if you don't learn anything, you'll get your money back guaranteed, and it starts as little as $5 a month. And guys, don't just take it from me that gains are being made. Just go look at what's going on here. 100% gain, 200% gain, 11%, 100%, 40, 90, 20, 300, 155, over and over and over again. There are hundreds of thousands of dollars being generated in this community every single day. And as I mentioned before, the best part about it is it starts as little as $5 a month. We have over 1,000 members in the community. So if you want to get started today, the premium membership is a great place to start because the executive tier is sold out. So feel free to go check that out down below if you do want some extra information. But with that in mind, just my homework for the day for you is to remain patient. Allow this to play out. Allow this market to cool down. Allow it to reset, and allow us to get more clarity on what's going to happen here in this red box. Because while we're in it, the likelihood is that people who get too highly leveraged in either direction will lose. So of course, I'll continue to update you as this all does play out. Don't forget to go follow me on my Twitter. I do want to post 7 or 8 times every single day there with extra analysis and content. Check that out. Check out the school. Check out BTCC. I will link all those things down below. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I can't wait to see you all on the next one. Peace out, everybody.